One very touching example of the power of our Lost and Found column sparked today's event. It all began when Mr. and Mrs. Jakob Brunfeld, where are they?
Here.
Okay. Emailed Lost and Found with a query, oh my phone, just ignore it, sharing that they were looking for the owners of lost fill-in phylacteries, and that they were found and given to them by then firefighter Michael Galla, who has since risen in the ranks and is today Chief Michael Galla Jr., Chief of Personnel, who was appointed as Chief by Commissioner Salvatore Cassano and is now responsible for over 10,000 firefighters. Am I correct? We are all grateful to Chief Galla for the sequence of events that he initiated over 25 years ago when he handed over these valuables fill-in to his Jewish neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Jakob Brunfeld, who have since unflaggingly sought to restore these religious items to their rightful owner, albeit unsuccessfully. It was only after the Grunfeld's query was published in the Lost and Found May column that their decades-long search finally ended. Today, we celebrate the restoration of these fill-in to their owner, Mr. Shalom Horowitz, a resident of Hask, who began using them when he reached the age of 13, his bar mitzvah. Although he obtained another set of tefillin when these were lost, and has continued to wrap them daily on his arm and forehead as required by the Torah, this particular pair that had been lost had special meaning for Shalom and his parents, Mr. Shmuel and Mrs. Bracha Horowitz. The Grunfeld's query was read in faraway Sydney, Australia, by Mr. Horowitz's niece, Mrs. Berna Althaus, and she sent a slew of emails or WhatsApps to her aunt, Mrs. Bracha Horowitz. WhatsApps. We don't use that in Hamodia, so it's just going to be emails. That a set of tefillin bearing Shalom's name had been found. Mrs. Horowitz contacted Hask, and after she ascertained that Shalom's current tefillin were where they belonged, they realized that those mentioned in Inyan's Lost and Found column were Shalom's long-lost bar mitzvah tefillin, religious items that are especially significant to them. I feel extremely grateful that my column was instrumental in having these tefillin returned to the rightful owner, Shalom Horowitz. This heartwarming human interest story is another example of divine intervention, as we acknowledge not only the goodness of Chief Galla in giving the tefillin he found to his Jewish neighbors, but of the hand of God that led to the culmination of a story that began 25 years ago. I would like to take the opportunity to convey my appreciation to the publisher of Hamodia, the newspaper of Torah Jewry, Mrs. Ruth Lichtenstein, to the managing editor of Hamodia and editor-in-chief of Inyan magazine, Mrs. Rachel Roth, and to Mrs. Sarah Bernhack, managing editor of Hamodia's Inyan magazine, which is home to my column. These women are marked by unsurpassed brilliance, partnered with caring hearts, which are reflected in their outstanding publications. As we acknowledge Chief Galla's compassion and exemplary character, and thank the Grunfelds for persevering in their quest to fulfill the mitzvah of returning lost property, we celebrate with the Horowitz family as they thank God for the return of tefillin that were specially written by a master scribe for their beloved son, Shalom. Thank you all for taking time out for this meaningful event. What kind of condition are these?
Gotta give it to Cypher. Just give it to Cypher.
Polishing job.
It's great. It's very nice story.
So how does this make you feel that you're able to return a holy object 25 years later?
Oh, it's great. It's great to see something again that I knew was of great sentimental value 25 years ago. I'm saying I'm only sorry it took, 25 years and not a couple of days or a couple of weeks. But again, finally, the fella has been reunited with its rightful owner. We've expanded our circle of friends and family, and it's a wonderful event, and we're just happy that we were able to play a small part in it.
Now, where did you find it 25 years ago when you found it?
25 years ago, it was a friend of mine that had found it and knew that I lived in Borough Park and knew that it had some, Jewish meaning, and I knew, through Rabbi Jacob that it certainly had sentimental value in the subway. It was found in the subway, and I was able to return it.
we really appreciated what we find there. And we thank him for everybody.
People and have they have problems.
It's a good idea. Dr. Wax suggests we come grow day program and be along some other colleges as well. In my car,
Now, every Jewish boy gets this at
the age of 13. That's the use of
that would be a bar mitzvah.
That's
I think it's really to the credit of these two gentlemen that they saw fit to value that which is so sacred to us, and it's really impressive that they took the trouble and were really very persistent in trying to find the rightful owner. It in today's society, when we're living under circumstances and situations when there's so much anti-Semitism, the events that just happened last week in Europe, and it's really gratifying to see that in contrast, that there are people who do consider the Jewish people friends and willing to go out of their way in order to be of assistance.